So, what happens to you when I say the words trickster, hero, and sage? Anything kind of stirring you? Well, what I've just described there is three of, I think, really intelligent archetypes that exist inside of us, and they also show up in our myths, our stories, our inner worlds. And there's lessons. There's lessons to these energies and using them for ways to explore our lives. And they're known as archetypes. And if we can learn how to recognize these archetypes within ourselves, they really can help us navigate challenges. They can help us embrace growth. They can help us also connect to a larger body of ancestral wisdom. And this can help us be more conscious in our choices in our daily lives. So I really think it's something valuable that we get to bring in. So each of us has access to these different archetypal cast of characters inside of us. They're parts of ourselves that represent different roles and expressions. And one I'd like to talk about today is the hero who seeks purpose. We also have a trickster who likes to disrupt the norm. And so let's begin with the hero. So the hero archetype we can think of is our call to purpose and transformation. You've probably heard of the hero's journey. The hero really represents the part of us that feels called to seek meaning in life, that desires to overcome challenges. The hero archetype is really commonly brought to the surface during times of growth, times when we've been like, okay, I need to discover more of who I am and I want to face the unknown. And the hero archetype really manifests when we're willing to step out of our comfort zone, when we go ahead and embark on that personal journey, that journey where we need to face some internal or external challenge. And this can show up in our everyday modern lives, like starting a new project, or when we really decide to take on the challenge of healing from trauma or pursuing some big change in our life. And it's important to know how there's a shadow side as well. The shadow side of the hero can include things such as when we embark on this new adventure, we can get over identified with success or our own individual journey, or get burned out from constantly needing to prove ourselves. So we want to be able to balance the hero's drive with also community and humility. So, first archetype, the hero. The second one I want to talk about today is the trickster, the power of disruption and playfulness. And the trickster also plays a role in transformation because the trickster is the one that disrupts the norms, that challenges expectations, that likes to use humor or chaos to initiate change. And really, there's so much wisdom here because the trickster forces us to see things from a new perspective. It often appears when we're stuck in rigid thinking, or we may need it to appear, we may need to call on the trickster. And the trickster shows us how to embrace unpredictability. It's a big word. How to embrace failure, how to embrace imperfections as tools for our growth. This can happen in times like when our plans fall apart, but this falling apart leads to something really unexpected, a new breakthrough, a new creativity. We've all experienced stuff like that. The trickster is also about finding liberation through play. You know, how many of us have a difficulty time in finding playfulness or lightness? We're often very serious. So the trickster can invite more play and spontaneity into our lives, and this can help us avoid from taking ourselves too seriously. And one of the shadow sides I think we need to watch out for with the trickster is that it does have a shadow side of manipulation or recklessness or chaos without purpose. And when this is unchecked, that can lead to things like sabotaging growth, self-sabotage or sabotaging relationships. But to be able to harness that trickster energy for our conscious disruption of rigid patterns rather than self-sabotage, there's gold in that. And now the third archetype I want to talk about today is the sage, the archetype of wisdom, reflection, guidance. And when we have the sage as our inner guide, it really helps bring forth this clarity. It helps bring forth an ability to self-reflect. The sage really represents the part of us that seeks knowledge, that seeks inner truth, that seeks to know from a higher perspective. And the sage shows up when we need to step back, when we need to observe, And we really need to make thoughtful choices, those strong moments of insight. The sage manifests in moments of deep reflection, moments when that clarity comes through and we find ourselves accessing a wisdom that feels bigger than us. Yeah, when we've grown enough to also share our wisdom to others, that's another example of how the sage comes through. And I think it's beautiful to think about how the sage can balance both the hero and the trickster. The sage energy of that sage and that wisdom can help balance the drive of the hero and the trickster's chaos by offering us guidance and patience. The sage knows that transformation is really an ongoing process, and it values the journey as much as the destination. Transformation is not a one-time thing. And like the other archetypes, it does have a shadow side. The sage, when it's out of balance, can manifest as this kind of overly intellectual, arrogant, analytical type of energy, rather than really integrating the wisdom with empathy and heart. So looking at your own life, looking at what are the dynamics of these archetypes for you? How is self-reflection and awareness? If you can reflect on which of the archetypes I just mentioned, which do you resonate the most in your current life? Are you embodying the hero's drive for change? Are you feeling the trickster's urge to disrupt the status quo, to sow some chaos, to really kind of speak truth to power? Are you tapping into the sage's wisdom to guide yourself or others? And so in the show notes below, I'm going to put some journaling prompts in there that can help you feel into these energies and discover more for yourself. How might these archetypal energies be operating in your life right now? Because they are powerful. They're powerful forces for us to be able to bring in and to recognize in ourselves. They can really help bring us more self-awareness and also help us find out, where do I perhaps need some more of these energies. So I really encourage you to find ways to integrate these archetypes consciously in your life. For example, if you're too focused on your goals right now, more that hero energy, you might want to evoke some more of that trickster's playfulness. Or if you feel overwhelmed by chaos, say that trickster energy is out of balance, you might want to invite more of the reflection of the sage. So honoring your inner archetypes. We all have these parts. And so embracing each archetype has beautiful value and is really necessary for having that balanced, fulfilled, meaningful life that we all want. And by recognizing and honoring our hero energy, our trickster energy, and the sage within us, we're really able to embrace our full human experience. Because all of us, these archetypes are not static. They come from ancient wisdom, but they're not from the past. They also ebb and flow, and depending on where we are in our life. So embracing their presence can really guide us into a more dynamic, more conscious way of living. So I invite you now, as I say these words, hero, sage, trickster. How do they feel now? What is most active in your life? And what are ways that you would like to work with them to bring about more transformation, more healing, and more joy? Thanks for joining me in this video. Please leave your comments below. I love to read them. Bye for now.